everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. I feel like this is so new for me. I have not done a live in such a long time, in like I think 3 weeks or something. And so, or probably even more. So it's just like, oh my gosh, I haven't done this. It feels so weird. I've been doing the recordings and then being in the chat with everyone. Um, for the last 3 weeks because of a lot of different reasons, but I'm so happy to do it live. I'm like, oh my goodness, I haven't done this in a while. I haven't been live with you guys in a while. So hello, all of my friends in the chat. Hi. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, we are a channel that supports these two on the screen, and with Tyler, of course, one of our faves, and all their peeps around them we support. And of course, we're very biased and petty, so never come for them. As as Pamela used to say, we'll come for you. So, but hello, my friends in the chat. Hello, Connie Mama. How are you? And Annie and Fancy and Lorna. Let's see who else is in the chat. Hi, guys. I missed you all being doing a live. And Gwen. And who else is in the chat? Oh, Dolores is here. And who else is here? Sarah is here. Hello, Sarah. And Nash is here. And Kanitha, hello, Kanitha, how are you? And wait, Arrington W. I don't know that I've seen you here before. But if I have and I just forgot, I'm sorry. Again, I haven't been here in 3 weeks, so I could have just forgotten. A lot has happened in the last 3 weeks, so that could have been the case. Hi, C-Mac, but I'm happy you're here, Arrington W. C-Mac is here. Hello, C-Mac and Emily. Hello, guys. Welcome. Oh, Cookies and Cream, our awesome moderators here. Hello, Cookies and Cream. And I'm happy you're here. And Antoinette and Patricia. Hi, guys. And so we're going to say hello to everyone else as they come in. Yes, hi, Louise and Antoinette. Yep, see you guys and Sonia. Yep, see you all. But anyways, what is going on? Oh my gosh, there's a lot going on. Lots and lots of stuff going on around the royals and around the world and all of that stuff. So we'll kind of try to touch on a lot of different things today. But again, I'm just happy to be able to do a live and to hang out with you guys for a bit. A little bit of why I've been a little bit displaced. And it's so funny. I feel weird about talking about displaced because we've been talking a lot about what's going on in Palestine and the displacement there, among other atrocities that's going on there, with so many people, being bombed out of their homes, and they're on foot and walking, and so they have nothing. So I kind of feel weird even saying displaced, so because talk about first world problems here, for myself. So I kind of even feel bad even saying it, But in a way, it's a little bit. They have been working on my bedroom, replacing one of the walls. They literally have had to cut through my wall, and my for some reason, my electricity went out for no reason in my room, and so they literally had to cut through my wall to figure out, because a lot of apartments in Manhattan are old buildings, and so they have to cut through to find so it's been a drama. And what I thought was going to be 2 days or something turn into about 2 weeks and something, and they're still not done. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm moving everything back in. I don't care. I'm tired. So again, 2 weeks turned into over 2 weeks, and we're almost at the end of we're going on 3 weeks, and it's still not done. And so it's just like, it's been a bit of a drama. So I've kind of been here, and then hanging out, staying at one of my friends and coming back. So it's been a little bit much. And so and then I was working on a film, and so it's just so many things were happening. I was like, okay, what I can do is do little videos and post it. And because sometimes by the time I do a video and finish editing it, it's like 2 a.m. So I was like, let's post it tomorrow. So it's been a little bit crazy. So that's why I haven't been able to really sit down and do a live and just to hang out and chat and stuff. So I'm happy, even though my room is still a disaster because I've moved everything back in and it's nothing. At least I have a room. And at least I have a bed. So I'm grateful. So again, in light of all that's going on in the world, This is complete first world problems. And so, anyways, I hope you guys are hearing me well. So let me know if there's any problems with sound or anything like that. Again, I have not, done this live in a while, so hopefully the sound is okay. Just give me a thumbs up if that's okay. But what is going on with our faves? Our faves are doing fine. We know we saw them. What was it, last week or a week and a half ago? The days are flying by so fast now. I forgot. I think it was like last Wednesday, I think it was, when they were out in San Diego and doing this wonderful work with the Navy SEALs out there. We saw them out there, and so they are, for the most part, relaxing. Yes, I saw some photos on social media. I'm not doing paparazzi photos, even though some people are like, but it's a good cause. I don't care. I don't do paparazzi photos of people on their private time. But other than that, I love this. Kelly Ripa, you might know Kelly Ripa. Oh, H Night. Just a second, let's just break off Kelly for 1 second. H Night has been a member for 8 months. Oh, well, thank you so much, H Night, for supporting the channel. Oh, 18. I was like 8 months, 18 months. My goodness, time flew by. Wow, it's been that long. I am so happy. Thank you so much, H Night, for your support. Yes, Susan Screw. But back to Kelly Ripa. She has like a daytime talk show, and I don't know if is it still on. I guess it's still on. The last time I knew she was doing it was with Ryan Seacrest, that guy who has like a million jobs, and this guy hosts just about a million things on television. So I don't really know if it's still on or not. I have not paid attention. I don't really watch TV, so I don't know if it's still on. But apparently, she has a podcast, and I was like, oh, okay. And I know. I didn't even realize this until earlier today. I saw someone post on Twitter that she was following Gary, what's his name? Gary Janetti, that guy on Twitter who was saying all these nasty things about Meghan, or posting all these nasty things about Meghan, and then had this gross cartoon, this like royal cartoon where he was playing the voice of George, Kate and William's little boy, George. And it was just the idea of it was just so gross. And so I remember all of us going after him, and then really tweeting at HBO. I think it was HBO Plus, I think it was, that had a show about just how despicable it was, and they canceled it after I don't know if it's because of the protests, but they canceled it after one season, thank God. I mean, it was just ew. And then using a child, gosh. But anyway, apparently she was supporting of Gary Janetti, I guess, liking his tweets. I didn't know about that. I knew that there were certain celebrities who would like his posts and his disparaging posts about Meghan. I didn't realize she was one of them until yesterday. I was like, oh, I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. So the squad isn't really feeling her right now, but needless to say, Tyler was on her show, and Tyler was talking, I guess they were talking about, I didn't listen to the whole podcast, just segments where he talked about Harry and Meghan, and, basically going over and what we know, because we've watched the Harry and Meghan docuseries, we've read the cut article. Meghan talked about her relationship with Tyler and him giving her a piano and telling them, to write their own, the ending, or I guess write their own life, whatever. I forgot the whole thing she said. And then so Tyler has spoken again about their relationship as well. And so she was asking him about basically how they came to be, and so he was saying that people, a lot of people thought that he met them through, or at least he knew Meghan through Oprah, because that would have been a normal connection, because Harry and Meghan have a connection to Oprah, and even before they moved to the US, they had a connection, and then also Harry was working with Oprah on The You Can See, so people naturally thought that that was a connection, and Tyler basically corrected that and said no. back in the day, he and Meghan apparently shared a publicist, and that was how he got Meghan's contact information, contacted her before her wedding. And of course, we know the story of, there wasn't a connect. Meghan didn't respond, and then when they moved to Canada and Meghan was just going through a lot, she called Tyler, and he said that their conversation was like almost like he was a therapist for her. Like she just needed that solid, that safe place to land because of all that she was going through. And he was just so happy to be that safe place for her to land and to be able to talk through all the places, and all the things that she was going through. And, just listening to Tyler talk about just what a joy it was for them to stay at his house, and just knowing that they were safe and they were just so happy there. Tyler was just, I was like, I don't know who enjoyed that more, them or Tyler. He was just so happy to be able to be that angel for them and that safe place for them to be able to land and to be able to have someone, that doesn't want anything from them again. Look, Tyler has it all. I mean, he sent his jet for them. They used this house. He was able to offer them his security. He offered them a safe place. He didn't need anything from them. And so I'm sure it was so refreshing for them because, again, when you have that status, people always want something from me. So you always suspect that's with relationships or new people you come in contact with. What do they want? Or, you don't know what their motives are. But to talk to someone who he doesn't want anything from them, in fact, they needed him and he didn't need them, would have been so refreshing for them. And so it was just, and then they talked about Lily, and she asked him about him being godfather to Lily, and he's like, oh, I think he called her Pretty Lily or Little Lily or something like that. Talked about how beautiful Lily is and how beautiful both Lily and Archie are. And one of the things he said is like, Harry and Meghan, they make beautiful babies. He's like, all I'm gonna say is they make beautiful babies. But it's just that was really wonderful. I mean, I listened to, again, the clips. I didn't listen to the whole thing. And she also mentioned Tyler's son. And Tyler, in his book, Hire is Waiting, talked about his son. And I've never even seen Tyler Perry's son. Like, I didn't know Tyler Perry had a son until I read that book. And so I was like, oh. And so he has a little boy, and Kelly was talking about how beautiful his little boy is. And I mean, wife, mother. Oh my goodness, I've never seen you on here before. Welcome. And she says, Tyler's spirit is so beautiful. I can't wait to watch his documentary. And that's the thing. That people have so many different views of Tyler or feelings about Tyler, however you feel, but there's a spirit that Tyler has that is unquestionable. He just has a spirit to love, to give, and to see, and to want to see and bring out the best in people. And it just can't be denied. And I feel the same. I absolutely feel the same. And I am looking forward to seeing his documentary. I saw an interview, I think it was on The View with Tyler, and they were sitting around a table talking about that documentary. And one of the people on The View said to him, that documentary introduced me to your mom. I felt like, and he just broke down in tears because it touched him so much that he was able to introduce her to his mom, even though his mom passed away. But she felt like that documentary, she felt introduced to his mom. And it meant so much to him. And if you've read and Hire is Waiting, which his book is, it's all about him and his mom. You would really think he was an only child when you read that book. After reading, I have to remind myself, like, oh no, he's not an only child. But that relationship with him and his mama is amazing. And so I am definitely looking forward to seeing that documentary as well. And I'm seeing in the chat that people are not feeling Kelly at all. I'm sorry, guys. I had no idea. Mashara's like, I don't like Kelly. It's like, oh my gosh. I had no idea until I saw that people had this. I didn't know. H9 said her show is still on. She's doing it with her husband. Okay. So I didn't realize Ryan left. Probably off doing a million of his other jobs. I mean, he is the ultimate Amon family person. Talk about like a million jobs. That guy has I don't know when he sleeps. And so Marjorie says, yeah, so watch Kelly with Mark and with I'm sorry, watch Kelly with Kelly and Mark. Oh, I guess the new show is now Kelly and Mark. Yes, still with her husband Mark. Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, the last time, and I hadn't seen it. The last time I think I saw an episode, I think, was it Prince Harry or somebody? I don't remember who it was, but she was hosting it with that guy, the football guy, the Michael Strahan. That was the last time I saw an episode of it, and then I heard that he left, and then million job guy Ryan came on, and so Gwen is like, Masha didn't like how Michael Strahan, I don't know what she's saying at the end of that, something about she didn't like about Michael Strahan. Okay, so anyway, so H9 is like, Kelly Ripa is good friends with Andy Cohen also. Is Andy Cohen that guy that was on Meghan's podcast, right? Was there an issue with him too? I don't really know. I have not paid attention to Kelly, so this was I didn't even know she had a podcast until I saw this. I was like, oh, she has a podcast. Okay, interesting. So that's why I didn't know if the show was still on or she was doing both or what the deal is. Again, I don't watch TV. Definitely don't watch daytime TV. So normally I would go past the ABC studio where they shoot, but I haven't been by there in such a long time, so I have not normally it's like they have the display there with them, so I haven't gone past in a while, so obviously I haven't seen it, so that's why I didn't know if it was still there. But Michelle says, I wish Kelly's show would get killed. Oh my goodness, Michelle, you are not feeling. She did Regis dirty too. She did. I mean, my understanding of Regis was that he wasn't much of a peach either. So I didn't realize. Oh goodness, I did not know any of this stuff. Well, thanks for telling me. Oh goodness, she's been doing that show for quite a while. So I had no idea she had an issue with Regis. But again, drama on daytime. Anyway, well, thank you guys for the info. That's why I love this community, because y'all are so informed. The things that I don't know, you will tell me. So Michelle Fear says, Kelly reminds me of Holly, the GB News Inside Out. GB News or the what was it? I think Holly. Are you talking about Holly from the This Morning or whatever that show was? I'm not sure. I don't watch GB News, so if there's a Holly on GB News, I don't know. Same type, very passive aggressive, both air. Oh my goodness, no depth, but people put them on a pedestal. I'm assuming, I mean, I don't know if she's well. Let's moving on. Moving on. Thank you, Michelle Fairs. That's Michelle's view of it. But I'm assuming you're mentioning Holly, who left. That this today, I think it's This Morning. I think it's the show that Holly was on in the UK, just in case. So, anyways, moving on from this, but I enjoyed the Tyler part, even though I'm sorry, and I'm sorry nobody's feeling Kelly, but I enjoyed Tyler talking about how beautiful baby Lily is and everything. He called her Little Lily. I was like, oh. And talking about his goddaughter, Little Lily. But anyways, more stuff about Prince Harry. Oh my goodness. This is not news to us. I mean, if we were paying attention at all, if you're on this channel, if you're anyone like Baron or Duchess of Success or the others, we've been lauding and lifting up and praising Spare the entire from January 6th, the day it was January 10th, I'm sorry, the day it was published until today, just about how amazing Spare is. So this is not news to any of us that this is still number one after 10 months. It's still, it's on times 100 must-read books of the year, obviously, along with others. But it's on everyone's top, and it's sad that it was nominated for a Grammy, which I just like. How would and the funny thing is like some of the one. Okay, I'm listening to actually right now, even the Michelle Obama's book. I'm actually listening to that. Higher is Waiting. No, not Higher is Waiting. The Light We Carry, Michelle Obama's book. I'm like getting my books mixed up, and I'm sorry, but really, I'm literally listening to it right now. And if I would have picked one that would have been nominated for all the, not just obviously the royal stuff, but just the impact that it's had on so many different communities, how it crossed so many boundaries and so many lines, and so many people from all these walks of life benefit from Spare. If I were to pick something and just the way it was delivered and presented, I would go with Spare. I mean, I understand why they would pick Michelle Obama. I understand. But, and don't get me wrong, Michelle Obama's book is really good. It's really good. But for me, as an audio presentation of how it's done, I would go with Spare. And maybe I'm just biased, but I like Michelle Obama too. But if I were to go, the rest of them I can't judge because I hadn't listened to them. So I can't judge for those. But I am listening to Michelle Obama's right now. And for me personally, which one I would go with definitely would be Spare. And so Time magazine says the titillating details threaten to overshadow the lyrical prose in Prince Harry's buzzy memoir, which made countless headlines when it was published in January, of course. But Spare is a rare tell-all that finds balance. Sure, the book features an insider's perspective on wedding-related squabbles between Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton, a moment when Prince William physically attacks Harry, and an anecdote about Harry's frostbitten pee-pee. We've had discussions about Harry and his pee-pee. But the talented ghostwriter J.R. Moringer, who has pulled off this trick before with Andre August's memoir Open and Phil Knight's Shoe Dog, finds literary heft in Harry's life in a gilded cage. Never before has a celebrity memoir pulled off comparisons between subject and another dithering prince, Hamlet. Even the story of Harry's icy appendage segues into moment of reflection on how the press scrutinizes every intimate detail of his life since he was a child, including whether he has been circumcised. Come for drama, stayed for the writing. And so, yeah, the writing is amazing, and the book is absolutely amazing, obviously. And as you can see, for the year 2023, still number one, 10 months in, of course, Britney Spears was like, no, my book is like, no, Britney, not yet. Prince Harry Spare. And so the number one most bestseller for 2023 is Spare. I mean, we've been saying this all along. So if you're a squatty and you're surprised by this, you haven't been listening. You sure you're a squatty? So yeah. I mean, none of us are surprised, but we're all celebrating, again, even though it was not nominated, Harry's book. I mean, the fact that so many people, I mean, people are still discovering this book and are on Twitter just like, oh my gosh, this book is so amazing. So it speaks to just the power, the longevity, the book, it crosses so many lines. So for me, I don't understand. Again, I can't judge for the others that I have not read, but I can speak for this, and I can speak for the Michelle Obama's book, and this is a better book. So yeah. And a better presentation, definitely. Yeah, so what else? Harry, again, Washington Post, 50 most notable works of nonfiction, the year's best memoirs, biographies, histories, and more. And perhaps the most talked about book of 2023, as well as one of the best-selling the Duke of Sussex's memoir, delivered all the gossips readers wanted and more. All the while, the prince comes off as a good-natured, rancorous, humorous, self-righteous, self-deprecating, if long-winded, All of the above. Yep. I don't think he's long winded for me personally. I loved it, but hey, some people might. That's fine. That's totally fine. He had a lot to say, so there. So there. And so Prince Harry, I mean, I'm telling you, I can only imagine, and I'm hoping he's reading all of this. I'm hoping him and J.R. Moringer and everybody who's been part of this book are reading all of these and just seeing how much their work is appreciated, how much their work is just loved, and it's just this is one of those things that for years to come, people will go back, and historians are actually using Spare for stuff, fill in blanks that the royal family, because again, they've been refusing to release historical documents to historians. That's why when they start complaining about the crown, some historians are like, well, if the crown gets it wrong, it's your fault. We've been asking and begging and going to court for historical documents so we can have it for the public so they will know the truth. And you have been hiding them and not releasing them. So if people get your history wrong, it's nobody's fault but yours. And so they had this whole article about it last year when they were just throwing up a stink about, oh, this was history, this is historically incorrect. And it's just like, well, if you're not telling us the truth, we're just going to make it up and you're just going to have to deal with it. So there. So, yeah. Um, Donna is like, I disagree that Prince Harry comes off as self-righteous. Okay. Donna disagrees. So there you go. Thank you, Donna. Let's see if other people disagrees. Let's see. H9 says, oh, she's talking to Lorna. Sorry, I can't stand Drake because he has put down Serena. Drake and Serena? Okay, I'm not sure what this is about. I know nothing about Drake, so I'm just gonna exit this conversation because I have no idea. I know nothing about this man. I know about Serena, but I know nothing about Drake. Lana says the Grammys have become a political you wash my hand, I wash yours mess. Certain artists such as Drake no longer submit their work for consideration by the Grammys. That I did hear because whatever drama, I think Drake and this other one, I think The Weeknd, I think if I'm not correctly, you can let me know, but I think it's The Weeknd was the other person that they no longer submit. I'm actually surprised Beyonce even submit her work to the Grammys. I'm like, girl, it's time for you to just leave these people alone. They're not here for you. They're not, they want to use you to, obviously bring attention to their show, but they're not willing to reward your work. I remember the year when Adele won, even Adele felt bad because she won, because it was very evident she did not deserve it. That should have gone to Beyonce, the artistry of Beyonce's work. And it's when you see stuff like that, it's like, what's the point? It's like, stop putting your work for people who don't appreciate it and who will walk on it. So, yeah. Whatever the Grammys' reasoning is with this, I'm like, yeah, y'all not right. Whoever their voters are, I have no idea. Not that I've paid that much attention to the Grammys, but let's see. All right, so let's move on from this. But I'm very excited to see Harry on obviously I knew it was going to be there, but it's, you just never know. But kudos to him for the incredible work. And then you guys, now, I am of two minds with this, because I remember earlier this year, I was like, I'm never reading this book. I am not reading this. I'm only going to read Prince Harry's book. And I do not want to hear from other reporters writing books. And so I have, a very strong stance on it. And so a couple of days ago, for some reason, I don't know why, maybe I don't know what it is. All of a sudden, I got really, really curious about this. Omid has been tweeting things about it. And then obviously a couple of days, was it yesterday? I think my days are rolling into one. This came out that, excerpts from the book came out. And so Omid, normally they would give it to one of the British press. Like I think last year he gave it to, I think it was the Times, to serialize the book. And so this year he's like completely bypassing the British press. And they love Scobie for that. They will be probably attacking him left and right because of that. And he has given it to people. I had heard that he was going to be giving it to the other one. I forgot the name of the other tabloid, but that they said he was going to do it with, but he gave it to people and apparently gave them an interview about what he thinks is going on with the royal family, etc. and etc. And so he put out this excerpt from the book yesterday, and so part of me was like, all of a sudden, my firm foundation of I am not reading this at all is like been shaken. Like, okay, should I read it? Should I not? What do I do? And so after reading the excerpts, I'm like, I think I'm gonna stick to my guns of just because I think in 2023, even though I got curious and I was just like, okay, let me read the excerpt to have an idea of, just to have an idea of what was happening and what Scobie said, I think I'm past the point of sources. And I think that was one of my big things with this, because Harry has been so honest with his book that anything that says sources now or anything like that coming from, say, the royal family or royal insider or sources close to, is just really irritating to me. My thing right now is like, if you can't put your name on something, I just literally don't want to hear from you. I don't trust, because as far as I'm concerned, your source could be my dead grandmother, and for all I know. And so I am like, I don't know who these people are, and I don't know if they're telling the truth, and they're not putting their names to it, so you can't fact check anything. And so I know especially from Finding Freedom, there were quite a few things in Finding Freedom that was not true. According to court documents, according to Spare, it's like those things were not quite true. And so while I love Scobie as a journalist, I don't know that I could go and read this and feel like, okay, I'm getting the factual information, because again, sources said. Who are these sources? And so, but I did read the excerpts. So I'm going to read you a little bit of what it says in People, just in case. I'm assuming some of you may have heard this before. I'm sure maybe Baron may have covered it, or Duchess of Success, who I need to go and check them out, because I've been like so crazy the last few weeks. I have not even been on Baron's podcast. I have not even listened to Duchess of Success podcast that I always listen to. And so it's like, I've been a little crazy. But so just in case you did not hear it from them, this is a little bit of what the excerpt said from People. It says, Prince Harry laid bare the painful rift between himself and his family in the pages of his memoir, Spare. Last January, the world learned the extent of the division between Harry, 39, and his brother, Prince William, 41. For nearly 41 years after Spare, 41 years, hello. For nearly a year after Spare's publication, absolutely nothing has changed. Author Omid Scobie, whose new book Endgame is out November 28th, tells People under this week's cover story. In fact, the hurt and the anger between the two brothers, once the Prince of Wales and the future king, and the other, the Duke of Sussex in California, has now hardened into something colder and even more immovable, said Scobie. It's now basically indifference. I saw Harry's release of Spare as his last attempt at telling his family how he felt for years. Scobie, who chronicled both the breakdown of the royal family and the weakening of the modern monarchy in Endgame, because clearly there has never been an open enough forum to have these conversations, to share these feelings. The royal family, of course, is not known for its focus on feelings, but in Endgame, Scobie writes that perhaps more than any other point in history, the royal family is ignoring its internal fractures at its own peril, because part of the buy-in for the British public is that the royal family is the nation's family. And yet Scobie says heir to the throne William has prioritized his loyalty to the monarchy, even quietly, cooperating with the UK press to undermine Harry. And of course, they said Kensington Palace, Prince William's court, had no comment when reached by people about the allegations. And it goes on to say, Scobie says, in writing Endgame, I was talking to a source quite early in the process, and they called Harry a defector and said that that was William's view, said Scobie. These two men who were once at a time were firmly aligned in their outlook. One of them had to move on and also protect the crown. But will it be a crown left to but will there be a crown left to protect decades from now? There's real chance here to learn and adapt to a modern society and also to make up for the mistakes of the past. It is their move. And so even if the monarchy endures, the question remains of whether sacrificing brotherly bonds was worth it. These are probably sad realizations that will be had far too late in the journey, said Scobie. In the eyes of some within the institution, Harry is a threat to the crown. His freedom to exert his own thinking outside the confines of the institution has made him an enemy. Which is why, for the brothers, he said, there is no going back. And it's very funny with these things with, it's over, there's no going back, there's no reconciliation, the relationship is done. And it's very funny how they make these absolute statements with these things. And it's like, you never know. Life is crazy. You never know with these things. So I'm always stay away from these absolute situations when it comes to relationships. And is it, for example, if they were to patch up this relationship, it's going to be hard. It's going to be probably one of the most difficult things these two has ever done. But nobody knows if this is over. Nobody knows if they will never come back together. Yes, it may look very unlikely because of where they are. And they're both very stubborn people. They're both set in their ways, and they're both very firm in what they believe to have happened and how they both see things. And so right now they can't come together. But to say it's over, it's never going to happen again, I mean, you never know with these things. You never know. And again, you never know with family. So, but that said, there's a lot of things William has never dealt with, and there's a lot of things that William refuses to look at, i.e. his abuse of his brother. He has never dealt with that. And so People magazine also put out another article where it goes into the relationship between Harry and his father and Harry and William. And, again, William has never dealt with those things. Now, as a matter of fact, it talks about William looking at Harry and as Harry is a different person. He doesn't recognize his brother. He doesn't recognize this Harry. And he feels like Harry has been kidnapped by therapists. And it's just all of these things. I mean, again, this is coming from someone who has a mental health charity. And he is labeling his brother as this nutcase kidnapped by therapists. This is a brother, again, who talks about mental health all the time and has never, ever gone to get help because he doesn't think he needs it. Meanwhile, he has a major anger issues. He has major violent issues. I mean, his own press that their rota always talk about his anger issues. They talk about him and Kate throwing things at each other. They talk about him yelling at his father and yelling at his wife. And I mean, he has all of this rage. And again, Harry specifically detailed in his book that William attacked and abused him. He is lucky that Harry didn't press charges because that is a crime. And I know some of the press tried to sort of write it off as, oh, no, it's just brothers fighting. I was like, no, this is not brothers fighting. They're not little kids. This is a grown man attacking his grown brother in his brother's home. That is a crime. That is abuse. That is an assault. That is a crime. And so none of them are dealing with these facts. And so William has never wanted to look at the facts. And his thing is like, oh, Harry has changed. He doesn't recognize his brother. He does not want to know this brother. And part of that, I guess, Omid also interviewed some people from the Spencer side who basically countered that and said, no, Harry's the same. He's just grown up. He's just grown up and he's outside of the institution. So he's able to see things in a different way. And of course, William has not had that. William is within the institution. So he has not seen that. And so that it goes on, other stuff as well. And then it sort of rehashes about when the queen died and that whole, we know in real time how the palace leaked to, especially what's her name, Rebecca English, and all of those people at the Telegraph, all the ways that Charles did not want Meghan, and all the ways in which they snubbed her from going to Balmoral when the queen passed, and the whole drama. They leaked all the stuff in real time about all the drama surrounding the queen's death, including Harry not being told about the queen's death, and then his plane landed and he found out on the BBC. Harry even wrote in Spare about all this stuff, and so the book rehashes all of those things. And some of it were on the Buckingham Palace side. They're thinking about it, why they did not wait for Harry and all of that stuff. It talks about Harry being crushed, and Harry never said that in Spare. At least I didn't read where he said he was crushed. I could imagine him feeling crushed. I mean, I could imagine him being devastated that his grandmother, his beloved grandmother, no matter what I think of her, that she passed, and they didn't know that she was that close to passing because they didn't tell them. And then to get there and find out, not by a family, but to open the news and find out she's dead. And it's just, I could totally understand all those things and those feelings, but a lot of it is that kind of rehashing. And so I'm like, in part of me, part of me was really curious to see what Scobie's take is and stuff like that. But if the book is, at least I can't say the book, just these excerpts are basically a rehash of that. So I'm like, I already know that. Harry already told us. So I'm still going to stick to Harry. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm not I may not be curious later on if I hear something more that I hadn't heard of. I might not be curious to take a peek or look at some excerpts or something. But as now, I think I'm just gonna stay. And again, I respect Omid and it's what he has tried to do, and I respect him for not allowing the British press to, or other reporters in the British press to really bully him into towing the party line and going along with things as some of the other sycophants have done. But again, I am just over the sources say thing. Again, I don't know who these people are, and knowing that there was so much in, even though when I read the book, I actually liked it at the time, I didn't realize a lot of it, not a lot of it, but quite a bit of it was not quite factual. And so for me, I'm like, at this point, I just want the facts. And I think Harry laid out the facts in his book. 400 and something pages. We had Harry and Meghan docuseries. I think I'm just going to stay with that. And so if I get tempted, I will let you know. But this is what the People magazines excerpts of it. This is pretty much what it's about. If you want to go read it, it's up to you. Again, we're all adults, but I just, I got curious and I read it. So I read the excerpt. So anyway, so that's what it is on that. Let's see what you guys are. I don't even know if you guys are talking about it. You're probably like, what? H Night says, H Night, I think you're it. Says, I'm sure Harry was treated even worse when Meghan wasn't around. She had to be around with those three. Oh, she had to be around those three witches. I am sure just reading from Spare, it just, and I'm sure Harry didn't put all, again, as he said, he has more stuff in there in the part two, if he ever decides to publish part two, that he wouldn't want to be out in the world. So, that there was a lot more stuff that he could have said that he had to face and deal with in that family that we don't know. And so, yeah, William has a Jekyll and Hyde personality. He needs therapy, which may not work. And I mean, even if you remember when we were talking about the Byline Times article, even Dan Wooten, before he had that all of a sudden magical switch to starting to hating Harry and Meghan, he hated William. He talked about William's bad attitude, and that's what his friend was told to Byline Times, that they were really surprised that Dan Wooten, who hated William for all this time, all of a sudden switched to hating Harry and Meghan, and all of a sudden was falling at William's feet with the most fawning "I want to be your best friend" articles after whatever, we all know what happened there. But yeah, so many reporters like Robert Jobson and all of them have written about William's bad attitude in books, in articles. I mean, we've covered on this podcast so many different people writing about William's temper, and he has never gotten help for that. And so, and not only that, I mean, the worst thing, and we've talked about this, why do people allow him and Kate to be on their mental, come and talk to them about mental health? And these people have no idea about mental health. They've never gotten help. They've never sat there and, I mean, look at how they're treating Harry, who literally went and got help. And we remember from Robert Lacey's book that they called Meghan and Harry, that they refer to them as basically mentally damaged. They call them damaged, and they labeled them all of these things. And it was just like they refer to them as damaged, I think damaged sociopaths or something like that. They refer to them, and these were Kensington Palace staff. And so when you feel okay to do that and say that about your boss's brother and sister-in-law, there is something really, really rotten there. And so William has, again, should be on nobody's mental health anything, but yet because of his title, people allow, and I can't understand why people allow this and allow these people to be some like ambassador for someone's mental health when they need help themselves and they've never looked to get it. Age night, you definitely, it says Robert Lacey's last book about William at 40 is basically about Harry, and it still did not sell that well. Yeah, well, yeah, it's definitely basically about Harry, but obviously it's sold as William's book. But in that book, in William at 40, we've covered a whole thing in that same book of Robert Lacey talking about William's bad attitude. First is anger about Harry. One, he didn't want Harry to do Invictus Games, and then when he realized how Invictus Games is, now he's really jealous of Invictus Games. And then it goes on to talk about William's really horrible attitude towards his dad and towards Harry. And to the people around him, that he wants deference. He wants people to show him deference, but he shows no one any. He had no respect for his dad, none for the Queen, no matter what he says. And he definitely wanted Harry in a place where Harry was lower than him. And that's one of the reasons I think his thing is Harry has changed. He doesn't recognize this Harry. Yes, because Harry is a grown man now, and you cannot treat him the way you used to treat him. You cannot dominate him the way you used to dominate him. He will not allow you. And so that's why he doesn't recognize this Harry. So and he doesn't, as he said, if what the report, or at least Scobie said, is true, he said he doesn't want to know this Harry. Yeah, of course not. Of course not. Because this Harry could stand up to you. And narcissists like Prince William don't like that. So again, that's about the article. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I don't think I ever even talked about this. I know that I spoken about when the day before they announced the judgment that it was going to happen, I did an episode about that, but I never really even talked about this part where, yes, and I'm sure you know by now that the case against the Daily Mail is going forward. And so wonderful, wonderful news for Prince Harry, Baroness Lawrence, and Elton John and his partner, and Sadie Frost, and all of the others that are part of this suit, that it's going forward. And it's funny, I was thinking about this, and if you don't know about the case, they have brought a lawsuit against the Daily Mail for phone hacking, for blagging, for putting listening devices in cars, for in their homes, for blagging their medical information. For example, someone blagged Elton John's when their child, they blagged the hospital to get I think the name of Elton John's child or something like that. I mean, they also Baroness Lawrence, they claimed they were supporting her, and it looked like they were supporting her and really challenging the people who committed the crime against and basically unalived her son. And they were really rooting for justice for her. All the while they were spying on her, and that is what it alleged, that they were spying on her and her family. And so she is suing them for that. So she's part of that lawsuit, which is, for many people, the most egregious, because all of this time they were claiming that they were supporting her, and all of this time not realizing, as the charges allege, that they were actually spying on her and her family. And so the Daily Mail, because a lot of these charges and a lot of this stuff happened outside of 6 years ago, the Daily Mail was trying to get it thrown out because they said, statutes of limitations has passed. And so they were trying to get it thrown out because of that. Plus, they were saying, no, we never did any of those things. But the problem with that is part of Leveson, Harry's, the attorney, oh my goodness, all of a sudden I forgot. You guys can remind me of his name. All of a sudden, oh goodness, what is his name? He was a part of the Leveson trial and knew all of the things that the Daily Mail had to admit at that trial. And so he knew they were lying. And so he was trying to get the evidence from that a part of this case. The judge said no, because I guess whatever happened to Leveson stays at Leveson and stays private. But we know that the Daily Mail was lying and saying that, oh, no, we didn't do any of those things. And so they were hoping that the judge would keep that private, the Leveson, the evidence from Leveson private, and also throw the case out, meaning they didn't have to go stand trial for any of this stuff. The judge said, no. Because they claimed during Leveson that they that they didn't do all of those things, even though those evidence was there. They were saying, for the public, I guess, they didn't do any of those things. There was no hacking, whatever. Any reasonable person would have believed them. But then obviously it came out later that they were lying, and so, or at least alleged to be lying. So they brought the case now. So the judge is like, well, they didn't know outside of 6 years ago, so you can go ahead. And the judge said that they have a reasonable chance of winning this case. So, and it's very funny because the Daily Mail was trying to get this case thrown out so they don't have to go on the witness stand. But if you remember, when Meghan was, when she was suing the Mail on Sunday, one of their big articles right after Meghan won that case was basically trying to call Meghan a chicken, like it literally saying, if Meghan really wanted the truth, she would want the case to go to trial. Why is she afraid of going on the witness stand and testifying? And so they were challenging Meghan in that. And here it is that in this case, when they are doing the exact thing what they were claiming Meghan was doing, they were trying to get the case thrown out so they don't have to go on the witness stand. It's the hypocrisy of the British press is so incredible to me. Absolutely, absolutely incredible. And so we're very happy. I am very, very happy that this case is going forward. Harry is going to get his day in court. And so I know that we are going to be definitely keeping track of it. And just a little bit about it says a lawsuit by Prince Harry and Elton John and 5 other public figures accusing a newspaper publisher of using private detectives' listening devices and illegally snoop on them should go to full trial. British judge ruled Friday. That was a week ago. Judge Matthew Nicklin rejected a bid by the publisher of the Daily Mail to dismiss the case without trial, saying the defense lawyers had not delivered a knockout to the claim. The claimants, who had include Elton John's husband David Finnesh and actors Elizabeth Hurley and Sadie Frost, accused the Publisher Associated Newspaper Limited of unlawful news gathering information by bugging their homes, cars, recording phone conversations, and using deceit to obtain medical records. Harry said the publisher targeted him and the people closest to him by unlawfully hacking voicemails, tapping landlines, obtaining itemized phone bill, and the flight information of his then girlfriend, Chelsea Davy. And we remember that Byline Investigates had this whole article about Rebecca English from the Daily Mail. And it is alleged in that article and on documents that she allegedly paid a private investigator to purchase a ticket and a seat next to Chelsea Davy on a flight from South Africa to the UK. And so Daily Mail had this private investigator sitting next to Chelsea so they could snoop on it. That is just so sick to me. And so that whole article, if you go to Byline Investigates, you can find it there. And so there. And of course, Byline Investigates is sort of a sister paper of Byline Times. And so very excited. This case is going to be next year. And so we will definitely, and our legal scholar, Leslie, I'm sure Leslie will be right up on it to bring us all the details when it happens. Yes, Sherbon, David Sherbon is the attorney. Thank you so much. Sherbon is Harry's attorney. Hope I spelled it right. Yes, David Sherbon. He is the overall attorney, and he is the one that was a part of Leveson. So he is the one that knew that the Daily Mail was lying, and there was evidence that they actually did all of those things. And even though the judge is not going to allow that information, because what happened that Leveson stays at Leveson, the judge allowed it to go forward because, again, these people deserve justice. And what their allegations against the Daily Mail, hopefully they're able to prove all of it. They have evidence apart from the docs from Leveson. So I still have not heard from that crazy Gavin Burrows. He sort of has been missing in action. And let him just stay missing. So there you go. What else is happening in our world? But thank you so much. I love our community that we just know these names. Yes, thank you so much, Helen. David Sherbon. Thank you. What else? The real world is happening very quickly. We've been talking about what's going on in Palestine and in Gaza and the West Bank, etc., Israel. And as of yesterday, Belize has cut all ties with Israel. Thank you, Belize. I mean, more and more people are starting to speak out against this, and which is good to see. It is really good to see people are putting their foot down. There comes a time where it's like, look, we know things are important, but when it comes to human life, we have to stop and protect human life. So I'm really happy to see, it says, breaking, Belize suspends all diplomatic activities in Tel Aviv, withdraws its consul, and suspend all activities of Israel's consulate in Belize, canceling the accreditation of Israel's ambassadors. And so thank you, Belize. And that's their whole press release there, which I won't go through. If you want to link to it, I will send, email me, factson2cents@gmail. I'll send it to you. And also, the president was meeting with Indonesian president yesterday, Joko Widodo. I'm assuming that's how he says his name. He surprised up Joe Biden by calling on the U.S. to do more to stop the atrocities in Gaza, declaring that a ceasefire is a must for humanity. Indonesia is the largest Muslim community in the world, and millions have rallied there in recent weeks. And so he was very, kind and very, I think it seemed a little bit nervous to call out Biden, who was a little bit condescending, a little arrogant, if I may be purely honest. And not addressing it, but switching the subject right away to climate change. Yes, climate change is important, and climate change, we must face that. But in this moment, I mean, if I were him, I would have proceeded and not allow, the president to distract me from it. But I'm glad he pointed it out. Hopefully they had more of a deep conversation. Again, this was in front of the press, and so maybe he didn't want to, but I would have pressed it. I would have been like, no, we can talk about climate change after. Can we focus on people dying in Palestine right now? And so, but I'm glad he brought it up, and so many other people are doing, really pushing it. And of course, these ladies in Congress. Oh, you know what? I think I forgot. Who did I forget? I forgot one of them. Oh, what's her name from? I think she's from Massachusetts. I forgot her. But AOC and the squad, they are these 5 women, and I think there was also a congressman that's a part of them as well, that they have now put out this. They actually sent a letter to the President Biden to really press on him to call for a ceasefire. And so we know that recently they censured Congressman Rashida Tlaib, for speaking out. And I mean, she is the only Palestinian American in Congress. And yet, with all the horrible things that you've seen Congress people do, including one of them even really Islamophobic rhetoric and genocidal rhetoric against the people of Palestine, and they did nothing. Nobody, not even the the leader of Congress said at least the Democratic side said anything about it. But I think part of it was she was part of saying, from the land to the sea. I think that's the chant or whatever, that they were saying, that they censured her because they claimed that she was doing hate speech against or at least being anti-Semitic and all of that stuff, which she wasn't. She basically spoke the truth, and she said, and she basically said, it even explained what she meant when she said it, but they still went ahead and censored her. But anyways, she has not stopped. She has been at rallies. She has been speaking out, and kudos for her. And I think it's just so arrogant with all of the people in Congress who have done so many horrible things, and including January 6th, trying to overthrow the government. None of them has faced any kind of consequence. And the only Palestinian American who was literally speaking up for her people, they will censure. And it's just like, it's so sickening what is going on in the U.S. politics. But they, again, put out this letter to really impress on the president to do something, to call for a ceasefire. And again, they still are not calling for a ceasefire. So 24 of them, 24 Democrats are all in the president's party. I think there are 16 of them, their signatures here, but according to AOC, who is the first one here, she said that there are now 24 of them who have basically broken away from the Democratic Party, because they're all like, oh no, Israel has a right to defend itself. Israel has a right. I mean, that's their mantra. Israel has a right to defend itself. And they refuse to call for a ceasefire. So now 24 of them have broken away and said, no, we want a ceasefire. This is crazy. We have to have a ceasefire. And just so you know, and again, I keep saying this and I keep tweeting this on Twitter, if you don't know anything about this organization called AIPAC, AIPAC, every single American need to go and research AIPAC. This is one of the most powerful Jewish lobby group on Washington. Basically, just about all of the Senate and both sides, Republican and Democrat, all of Congress, hundreds of them on both sides, are all pretty much bought by AIPAC. And so basically, it's so funny. I was thinking about it the other day. It's like Israel basically runs our government, just so you know. And so if you never heard about AIPAC, go and they're not hiding any of this. It's right on their website. All of the senators, all of the Congress people that they give money to. And basically what it is they give money to people who are staunch supporters of Israel. And Israel in terms of Israel Zionist government. That's the government that is doing what they're doing in Palestine right now. And so all of these people, and the funny thing is, on the Democratic side, 22 senators voted to censure Rashida Tlaib, who again is the only Palestinian American in Congress. 22 Democrats, her own party, voted to censure her. 20 of those Democrats have all taken money from AIPAC. They're all supported by AIPAC. And now because these senators, and it's so funny, if you go on Twitter, it's right there now, because these senators have been fighting for a ceasefire, AIPAC has put basically a hit on them, and that they have now set aside $100 million to run people against them to vote them out of office, all because they are calling for a ceasefire. And if you think AIPAC is joking, about 98% of the people that they fund get in office. And that is kind of where we are. And even, people that they basically are in their pocket, including, what's his name, who is the Democratic leader in the Congress right now, Hakeem Jeffries. He is one of them. And you know how a good way to know, at the Israel Support Israel or rally that there were like almost 300,000 of them a few days ago, he was one of the speakers. He is also bought by AIPAC. And it's really crazy. And again, AIPAC is not even hiding. It is on their website. All the senators and all the Congress people that they specifically fund, these people can never, ever speak a word against Israel. They can, no matter what Israel does, so that all of them have the same narrative. Just anytime you see a senator that says Israel has, in spite of all the things that they have been doing, and if you guys been paying of what they've been doing in Gaza and the West Bank, in spite of all of the atrocities, the genocide, all of that they will always say Israel has a right to defend itself. Anytime a senator or a congressperson says that, and you see this, and I want you to go to AIPAC website, and 99.9% of the time, I guarantee you their name is funded by AIPAC, because all of them are listed on AIPAC's website. And again, AIPAC is not hiding any of it. It's right there. A lot of people just don't know it's there. So AIPAC, go, and it is scary. I mean, I'm at the point where I feel like, goodness, I thought I was living in America. I didn't realize I was living in Israel. That's kind of where we are at. And so it's very, very interesting with this, that now AIPAC is now there. They are very well funded. They have tons of money and they're willing to spend it. So again, because these women are fighting for a ceasefire, $100,000, they're going to try to run candidate against them. And again, AIPAC has a 98% winning chance that their people are going to get into office. So whatever you're doing, make sure these people stay there, and not someone that cannot speak out against atrocities and cannot speak out against genocide, because that's where we are. That is where we are. They are totally in support of the president. That's why you have a president that cannot speak out against them. Yeah, that's why. That's why you have Hillary Clinton running around trying to convince everybody that it's Hamas, Hamas, Hamas. Yeah, they're all supporters and supported by AIPAC. It is crazy. This organization is the most powerful lobby group around. And they're all in the pocket. And it's just like, when you see, it's just, I'm like, this is craziness. This is utter craziness. And so, yeah, definitely, if you have not gone and checked them out, AIPAC, AIPAC. Go check them out. Honestly, that's honestly required reading, I would think, for every single American or American voting age American. You need to know who is actually running the country, who is running your government, because that'll inform who you vote for, because you want to be able to vote for people who are going to, especially in a country where people are on the streets, don't have food, don't have homes, infrastructure is crazy. When you see all of that is happening in your country, and that same country is giving 10 and 11 billion dollars to Israel to go bomb Palestine, a country that has no way of defending itself, there is a problem. There is a huge problem there. There's a huge disconnect there. So we need to know who we're putting in there so that it's like, okay, who to vote for. And a good way to know is who is funding these people. And you would be surprised to see how many Black senators have taken their money and none of them can speak out, including Hakeem Jeffries. So there we go. Moving on. Yesterday there was a massive crowd in the UK, in front of basically Parliament. I think in front of their Parliament, I guess, at Westminster. Really protesting and calling for a ceasefire. And sadly enough, the British government has voted, or at least they had voted against a ceasefire. And it's just, again, a lot of these people look at the funding, look at who is funding them, would speak to who, no matter what is going on, who is funding them speaks to who they will vote for. No matter what the crowd. I mean, last week, the UK had one of the biggest protests, actually, I think the biggest protest in history of the country, and they still voted against a ceasefire. And again, who are they getting their funding from? Because that'll speak to who they'll vote for. So there you go. Anyways, actually, I'm gonna go in and stay in the chat for a second before I move forward. Cho said, we're going back to Harry's court case. Cho said some repulsive Rebecca English rented a flat next to the then girlfriend. Chelsea owned a flat to surveillance and spy on her in her piece. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize this part. I knew about the plane when she paid, or allegedly paid, the private investigator to do in the plane. I didn't realize they rented a flat next to Chelsea as well. Oh my goodness. I know they did that to Meghan's dad I think when he was in Mexico. They rented Carolyn, at least they alleged that Carolyn Graham, I think, is that's the same one who wrote the article about his letter. Apparently she rented a flat next to Thomas Markle. So I guess they have a habit of doing stuff like that. Unbelievable. Madwell says, if you speak out against AIPAC, they are quick to call you anti-Semitic. Yeah, that is one of the things. They are quick to brand. This is very true, because they did it to AOC and Carrie Bush as well. And obviously AOC and Carrie Bush are not ones to sit there and let them malign them, and they called them out for their racism. AOC went after them. Yeah, they're very quick to brand you anti-Semitic, and if you speak out against them or you speak out about Israel. And I think one of the things that I didn't know, and the things that I'm learning as well, is there's a big difference between Jewish and Zionism. Jewish and the Jewish people and the Zionists, they're very different. The ideology is very, very different. Criticizing the Israeli government, who are Zionists, is not anti-Semitic, no matter what they say. They will come because they want you to feel guilty, and they basically want you to shut up because they want to brand you, so that people would say, oh, no, she's just anti-Semitic, or, because it's such a negative, and want people to paint you in a negative light. It is not anti-Semitic no matter what they say. I even saw an interview recently where this guy was questioning and asking for evidence, because there's this whole thing, that there are tunnels under this hospital that they've shut off electricity, they've shut off water. There, people are dying, babies are dying, and all of that stuff. And this reporter was questioning this guy, who I think was an ambassador for Israel, what evidence he has. If you're going to say that there are all these tunnels and stuff under a hospital and Hamas is there, what evidence? And the moment he started questioning him, he comes up with, you're a Holocaust denier. And the reporter had to put him in his place. So they will come up with stuff like that to shut a person down. It's just gaslighting. It is simply gaslighting. The government of Israel are not Jewish, as we know Jewish. They are Zionists. It's a very different thing. And so it's very interesting. That's why you see so many Jewish people here are like, not in our name. What you're doing is not what we believe. Your ideology is very different. And so, but because they are there and they associate themselves with Jews, everyone thinks it's the same. I thought it was the same. I had no idea. Until all of this busted out, and we're all like, wait a minute, they're not the same. And it's like, no, they're not. And so, so they want you to think it's anti-Semitic. It's not. And so I think it behooves all of us to learn and learn the difference, so that way when someone comes with that stuff, and again, no, it's gaslighting, because what do you do with gaslighting? They just want you to shut up. They don't want you to come. They don't want you to speak the truth about what they're doing. So they'll throw that stuff at you. It's like, no, but if you know the difference, then you can speak up. So Karen says, I still question the start of this war. Something didn't seem right. I'm not sure. We're being forced to believe that they're what they're feeding us, and not use our own judgment. Exactly. And one of the things, this is very true. And that's why we have to know, we have to be informed. And if you're not on social media, I think this is probably, if I'm not an advocate of, some social media, because it's some of it is bad, but I would say follow, like I'm on Twitter with this, and I do not follow Western journalism. Do not. Anytime with this war, do not follow Western journalists. I follow people who are underground there in Gaza, who are in real time posting videos, posting interviews. I mean, literally, reporters are reporting and there are bombs going off in the back of them. And it's crazy. You see them running. And so Western journalism it's not telling it, because that's the thing. It's so packaged so that when all of this stuff is going on, we're like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this before, not realizing this stuff has been happening all the time. But because by the time we get it packaged by NBC and CBS and ABC and whatever, if you're in the US, you don't see the truth. You are packaged. The government basically tells them, package it for them, and then they package it to us and force feed their ideas. And if you're not seeing in real time what's going on in the ground, you're really thinking what they're telling you is the truth. And then that's why kids right now, one of the things that's going on, I'm so sorry, I didn't even mean to go on about this. I meant to be far ahead with this. One of the things that's literally happening right now on social media, on TikTok, and if you're on TikTok, you've probably seen it, is that kids around the world now by the millions are discovering Osama bin Laden's letter. Apparently, Osama bin Laden wrote a letter to America. And he wrote it back in 2002, explaining why he does what he does, why there's all, what they call terrorism, and what the media and the government, the Western government, even 9/11 and all of those things. And not, they're not like, oh my gosh, I'm supporting Osama bin Laden or any of those things. It's like reading his letter and him talking about the American support of Israel and what Israel is doing to his country. And he talks about Palestine and what Israel is doing to Palestine. Again, this was back in 2002. And so people are reading this letter literally today, being shocked to their core, including me, because I didn't even know that letter existed. Shocked to their core when they understand, because and again, because he mentions the relationship, America's relationship, and the money that they're sending to Israel, and how it relates to 9/11, and how it relates to all of those, America invading Iraq and all of those things, people are finally understanding, like, oh my gosh, the narrative that the media force fed them as to why those things happen, like, oh, those Arabs, they are terrorists because they are just jealous of our freedom. They're just jealous because we can go to McDonald's and we can have free. All of that narrative was pure baloney. People were angry because of what America was doing in their country. It's the same thing that's happening now, where though what is America funding Israel and what Israel is doing in Palestine. Now, if those kids that Israel are bombing and they lose their parents and they rise up to go back and seek revenge on Israel for what they did to them, their parents, their country, and all of those things, they would be branded terrorists. And that is the same thing. And so that the letter is basically explaining all of that stuff. And people are now like, oh my gosh, all of the narrative about why those things happened is all of a sudden people are understanding, and really, like, it's giving them a whole new perspective on why these things happen. And that's why I never subscribe to this notion of terrorists. I don't brand people that, because I understood from a long time why people do stuff like that. And those labels they place, and people who are abusive, they place labels on people they abuse to hide their own atrocities. We see it as squatties, a very small version of that with what they've done to, say, Meghan. They abuse and abuse and abuse. And the moment Meghan spoke up, they label her. And it's the same pattern. This is just on a much grander scale. It's the same thing. It's the same labeling your abuser so you can hide your atrocities. And that is the thing. And so people are going crazy about this thing. It's trending on Twitter, and it's just going crazy because all of a sudden you have these TikTok generation, this Gen Z, finally understanding, and people are like, oh my gosh. And again, they're not like, oh my gosh, I'm supporting Osama bin Laden. I lived in New York, and I lived through the horror of 9/11. So that's not something that I'm going to, we've talked about that here before, the horror of goodness. It's still difficult for me when I see an airplane going by, because we all know what that was like in New York. So it's not like people are supporting that action, but they're understanding now what led to that action. And they're understanding now that the US's role in those things is not what was said to them, is not what was taught. It was not how it was presented in the media. It was not how it was presented by the government. And they're understanding now the US government's role in all of those things. And they're understanding that they've been bamboozled. So it's a whole big ruckus now. And so I think this whole genocide is opening people's eyes, including mine, in ways that the things that I didn't know. Again, including this letter. I had no idea it even existed. And so much so they want to hide it. The Guardian had this letter on their website since 2002. None of us knew it was there. And when this letter blew up yesterday, and TikTok has been going crazy with it, today, the Guardian decided to remove that letter from their website and then redirect people to an explanation of the letter. Instead of letting people read the letter for themselves, they literally took it down and said, oh no, because it was there and it didn't have like an explanation of the letter. So why don't you go read the explanation of the letter instead of people? And so people are like, no, we want to read the letter itself so we can form our own opinion. Why would a news outlet like The Guardian, and again, because they did that, now it's now more popular than ever, because everybody's like, well, what are you hiding? Why would a news outlet take down that letter that's been on their website since 2002? Why would they take down that letter today? It's just crazy. What are they trying to hide? And so it's really, and you see people that I respect, like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, who, especially Hillary, doing the most in the last few days. This is somebody I loved and respected. I love Hillary. But my thing with that is like, well, what are you trying to hide? She has been doing the most interviews and articles and all these things, trying to get people to look away from Israel's atrocities and blame it all on Hamas. I was like, no, you are lying and you are hiding things. And that's very obvious, because why? Hillary was Secretary of State. Now it's good. Questions are going to be asked. How, you were the top diplomat in this country. How did you make your decisions? Because we are looking at the clown show that Israel is putting on in real time on social media and being called out left and right for their lies about tunnels and guns. And it's been a lie fest. And people are literally mocking the Israel Defense Force right now on Twitter because of all the lying video and propaganda. They just assume they've never had to give an explanation for their lies. They've never been questioned about it. People, I guess nations are just like, well, they were victims, so okay, if you say this is what it is, that is what it is. And all of a sudden people are asking for evidence and they can't give it, so they keep putting out all these lying videos and they're getting called out left and right. And I'm sure she knows that people are going to be asking, well, what did you use to make the decisions you made in terms of your policy with Israel? And so all of it with her is like putting out all these, doing these interviews and articles about it's a must, it's a must, it's a must. I'm like, no, you're lying. It is not. And so all of this stuff is coming out and it's just like, I don't know where it's going to go. But I know one thing is that the eyes of people are opened and people are not taking the lies anymore. They're not accepting the lies. And I love this generation. I love this generation that's coming up because they are savvy, they are computer savvy, and they know how to investigate stuff. They know how to go find stuff and dig up old materials and dig up old videos. They are amazing. And they're not going to put up with the lies anymore. And I just love them. I was like, you go. Because at least it gives you hope that for change, I'm fingers crossed. So again, I don't mean to go into all of this stuff, but it's very interesting. I would say keep your mind and your open and just, if you're not on social media, go on social media and at least learn. And I would stay away from Western journalism because it is literally, CNN is in Gaza. They cannot show you anything on, they literally have to say it. They cannot show you anything that is not approved by the Israeli government. Everything you see has to be approved. And it's just like, well, that's not even journalism. So what's the point of being there? They cannot film anything that the Israeli government say they cannot film. And it's crazy. I was like, well, why would you say yes to that? So yeah. Anyways, moving on. Let's see what some of you guys will say before we move on. Nola Thandu says, she's talking to, Mishar says, I am concerned about South African government involvement in other countries' affairs when South Africa is having the highest crime rate and daily violent murders. Yeah, I mean, that's always a thing. It's like, so many governments are involved in other people's affairs. I was like, why don't you just stay home and mind your business and mind what's going on in your own country instead of meddling in other people's, especially in a negative way, so yeah. Donna Black says, I've never supported 9/11, but I have always questioned why it happened. I think a lot of people had questions and never quite bought the American version of the American government and press version of what happened. It just is very, very interesting that so many people are like, okay, this tracks. Because, people don't just wake out of their bed and it's like, okay, nothing has happened. Everybody has been great to me. And I'm just going to get on a plane and destroy another country. That does not happen. That does not happen. So, yeah. Karen says, if Gaza is Palestinian run by Palestinian, why does Israel have the control to turn the power and the water in Gaza? Why was it only Israel at the festival in Gaza City? Well, Gaza is an open air. They call it an open air prison. What it is an open air concentration camp. And they are imprisoned. And if you don't know a little about Gaza, for the last 17 years, that's how it's been. Israel controls everything in Gaza. They control, when you leave your house, if you're able to leave your house, it's fully militarized. Like their military can literally walk into your house on any given day of their want. If they want to occupy your house, they can literally walk into it at any time and demand you leave, and you cannot go in. They could literally lock your door and lock you in, and you cannot leave. They cut off streets that you cannot walk on. So only the settlers, and the settlers are basically those colonizers that come into your city, take over your basically take over your land, take over your house, and kick you out. And there's nothing you can do about it. The police and the military are on their side. There's nothing you can do about it. It's the same thing that's happening. I know the focus a lot is on Gaza. It's the same thing that's happening in the West Bank right now. And so they are they are literally living in a concentration camp. Israel controls their water. It controls their electricity. It controls their power. It controls everything. And that's why Israel is able to turn it off. And now they are starving. They are thirsty. They literally, there's nothing they can do. In 2023, that's how these people have been living for 17 years. They do not have an airport. They cannot leave. If you're sick and you need a hospital and the hospital in Gaza cannot help you, Israel has to give you permission to go, whether it's to Israel or to Egypt or whatever, for medicine, which a lot of times they turn down. You cannot leave there. There are no airports. They bomb the airports. The Palestinians do not have a military. They don't have anything. So when you hear the nonsense about Israel defending itself, you're defending yourself against what? People who don't have, you have the biggest, one of the, the most, I guess, dangerous armies in the world. It's like you're defending yourself against what? And yes, what Hamas did to the on October 7th was a crime. There's no excuse for that. It was a crime. But again, what led to that? When your country has been taken over by people, and again, when they talk about Israel is defending itself, Israel is an occupying force. They don't have any legal ground to stand on about defending yourself when you're the invader. You are the one occupying Palestinian land. You don't have a ground to stand on. So it just, it is crazy what's happening there. So then why would you be shocked that people would rise up? I don't understand why you would be shocked. Because if you're doing all of those things, of course there are going to be people that will be anybody would rise up and say, no, I'm fighting for my people. It's how we are. So anyway. Sharon says, Tadisi Coates visited Gaza and he did an interview on Democracy Now! Please Google it. Yes, we talked about that on here. Yes, very good interview. He recently visited there. And they all have that same, he couldn't believe what was going on there. Like the person he was walking with, who is from Gaza, there are streets that he couldn't walk. He's like, oh, no, you can go. But I can't walk on that street because he's not permitted to. It's crazy. Anyways, moving on. I'm sorry, guys. I did not even mean to be talking about this all the time. So, yeah. Let's see. Karen says, why are the Israeli citizens, civilian and Israeli army killing Palestinian in the West Bank and taking their land and farm? This has been happening for years. It happened in 2014, going back 50 years. Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of the people in the West Bank, especially who are taking over and literally walking into Palestinian homes and kicking them out of their house, like you have to leave right now because I'm moving into your house. Literally, that's what they do. A lot of them you would find they're Americans. A lot of the people who are doing that are American Jews, American, some European, some they're even like South Africans. Like if you are a Jewish person anywhere in the world and you can prove that you are Jewish, you can go into West Bank right now, into any home and decide you want that home, and you can kick that Palestinian person out of their home and out of their land, and the military and the police there will allow it. And you literally have to just pack up your stuff if you're Palestinian and move. And they can't come back. And you who are not even from there, you're American, you can literally go there and do that. And to them, that's legal. And so then you understand why Palestinians are angry. It's like, well, hello. If someone came here and did that, then what would you do? So yeah, it's craziness. It is absolutely crazy. But anyway, let's move on. Again, I apologize. I did not mean to spend this much time on it. What else is happening in the world? Something different. Back to royals. Back to the royal family. I don't know why they keep doing this. I literally don't know why they keep doing this, but they are. All hail Queen Kate. Duchess of Cambridge appeared regal in her landmark early year speech and kept sentences short and simplistic and had impact and body language. Expert says this was Kate, and all the times that they are lauding Kate's speeches. Kate doing all these speeches, whether it's for early years or all the different iterations of early years that she is it's like always reinventing herself, and she's having these big speeches. Kate turned heads, bright purple. This was a couple of days ago, as she gives the biggest speech of her life. And also, Kate makes a landmark speech to kick off her major new campaign. Again, this is the same, kid campaign that she's been doing, that they're always this every year. It is, I didn't do anything, so let me pretend I'm reinventing things so people don't realize that I really didn't do anything with the last part that I started last year. But here we are again in 2023. Kate Middleton makes landmark speech to kick off her major new campaign. The Princess of Wales gave a speech on the importance of children's development before her 5th birthday, before her 50th birthday, at the reception in London. Oh, the child development before their 50th birthday. Okay. Reception in London. Anyways. And so that was early in this year. So Kate, a couple days ago, is doing this, again, landmark speech, because she is another reinvention of early years. Again, when she started with this early years thing and that, 5-question thing, Kate has literally done nothing about any of those things. There are no organizations that she's really, funding and developing and to help solve these problems. There are no fundraising. There are no advocating for funds. There are no laws that have been changed. Nothing. But every single year since she has launched this big early years thing, there's always this reinvention, and then she's doing this major landmark speech that is supposed to do something about something and say something. And I don't know if anybody has watched this speech, and of course I have to watch it so I can speak intelligently about it. But there's nothing intelligent to say about the speech, which was like, I swear to you, if it was 2 minutes, I think I'm basically being generous. And not only was it like 2 minutes, she was literally reading most of it from a book or whatever, a folder or whatever she had in her hand. And it was just like, what are you doing? And then part of this thing was that it was a global thing. So she had people there from apparently around the world, including somebody from Harvard, that was part of this global thing that she's doing. And again, this, William wants to be this global ambassador, and her thing is now this global heads together. What am I saying? Heads together. This early years thing is supposed to be global thing, and it's like, global what exactly are you doing? What exactly is this for? What is the purpose of it? What are you doing? What tangible things have you done to show this is of any value, or that this is any different from what's been there? Again, the people who are in this field, they've all said the last time she did this major speech is that the major speech was all just talking and it was just, again, raising awareness for something that everybody is aware of. What they need is money to be able to fund these, whether it's after school or these childcare programs or whatever. What they need is money. You would think Kate would listen, but she hasn't, because what she's now interested in, how can I take my brand global? And you're like, but you didn't even figure out the local part. You didn't even figure out the part that's right there in Kensington or in Windsor where you are. You haven't figured that part out. So what are you doing? And again, this major landmark speech that supposedly the Sussexes or whichever one it is that they claim that has overshadowed her speech. And now I whatever, whether it was Omid releasing his excerpts or was it Harry, I don't remember which one it is, but now it's like some one of them overshadowed her speech. But I'm like, her speech was 2 minutes, not even. So again, I don't get, and I think that's the thing, with Kate and William. And as much as I, very much are just irritated by what they do and how they do it and the cluelessness, is I'm a person that I want to see if you have a platform for things that you're doing something with it, right? No matter who it is, as long as if no matter what I think about her, if she is able to help and use her platform to get money to these organizations so that they can really help the people who are involved in these early years, that they can help fund them, great. I don't care how I feel about her. That is beside the point. People are getting help. These kids are getting help. These parents are getting help. William has all the funds in the world. He has the access. He has the land. He has all of those things. If he's out there building homes and doing that for the homeless and they can have a place there, I don't care how I feel about William. It's beside the point. You are doing something. You're using your platform and you're using the resources you have to help people. And this is the thing that frustrates me. And that's why I talk about it, not because I'm just here sitting here to down her. I have no interest in Kate and what she does really, but it frustrates me because they have all the money, the access, the resources, they have everything they need. And yet they refuse to do the work to actually make an impact. I don't care how I feel about them. It doesn't matter. But if they use their stuff to help other people, at least people are being helped. And that for me is the most important thing. How I feel about it is beside the point. How I feel about him is beside the point. What is frustrating to me is that they have all of this, yet people are suffering. People are living on the streets. Children are not being able to get the help they need. And she is just sitting there doing a 1-minute speech claiming it's she's gone taking something global that she hasn't even figured out how to do in her own community. And that's what's so frustrating about the royal family. I'm like, can somebody just take this stuff away from them and give it to somebody who can do something? And that's why it was so frustrating. What they did with Harry and Meghan, they could have helped the people there. I'm happy that they're helped them, we have them here, that they are now, they're helping people in the US, but they could have done so much there too, right? It's like they have all of this and they're just wasting it. When people who really want to do stuff, who really want to be able to go out there and help people, don't have the resources, don't have the funds, don't have the access that these two lazy, gosh, have, and they just, and that's the thing for me that's with these two. It's just, they're literally a waste of time and space. Literally a waste of time. And I wish the British people could just rise up and kick them out of their palaces and whatever they have and give this stuff to people who can actually make a difference. These two are completely useless. Completely. And the people who work for them, they have no clue of it. Just, hey. Anyways, moving on. This is just irritating. Lana, thank you so much. 10 months is 2 cents crew. Thank you. I appreciate it. She said, Pedal, the intro video to Kate's event was about her. Nothing about what she hoped to accomplish or achieve. I didn't see the intro video. I just literally I saw the video of the actual speech because I'm like, well, I want to see the speech because it was supposed to be this grand thing and it was like 2 minutes that she read off her thing. So I didn't of course, it's about her. It's about her being a global ambassador, and it was not about the kids who. And what frustrates me too is the people that are in a room with her, instead of calling her out, is again to holding truth to power with the media. If they had a actual journalist that cover them, they could actually call them out and do to do something, but nobody's saying a word. And so we have nonsense like this. H9, you're definitely it. I'm always dropping on you. Says Jobson has been taking a different tone towards Harry and Meghan lately, so I'm wondering what he's up to. Robert Jobson is not a fan of Prince William and Kate. He's not. He's always been more of King Charles. So don't be surprised. He's not very, and he's very upset at William when he did that thing about his mom, calling his mom like she was basically paranoid and all that stuff. Jobson was very upset, even though he wrote William at 40. Even in that book, there are parts of it that he really went after William. And so he's definitely, Jobson, I think he can just smell the tea leaves. I think there comes a point where even a royal reporter has to, smell the tea leaves once in a while to realize, like, okay, all the things we've done to the Sussexes, we have not destroyed them. So maybe a different tone, maybe a different tactic. They're seeing that Scobie's a lot more successful than any of them who've written books. So they have to have a clue now that, like, maybe that, the tone that I'm taking is not exactly one that I should. So who knows? But yeah, I'm not surprised to see that he's taken a different tone at all. What else? Donna says Kate is a narcissist that they try to project onto Meghan. Her and William just want adoration just because of their fake titles. A lot of it, very true. A lot of that is true. Yeah. It just, you want attention, you want focus on you as opposed to the things that you're doing. That's very obvious. So yeah. Thank you, Donna. Let's see. Donna says, H-Night, Java is which side the money is coming from, and it's not the royal family. Yeah. Smell the tea leaves. It's just like, he's reading the tea, not smell, but reading the tea leaves. Like, yeah, maybe attacking the Sussexes is not going to give me what I need, because again, with Byline Times and again, with Omid's book coming out, people are looking for different, they're looking for the truth, especially from Byline Times, and they're not willing to accept the nonsense coming from royal reporters anymore. That game is over. And so, yeah, they have to change or they're not going to make money. This is all about them making money. So, yeah. Let's see. Lola says, because the wicked world leaders are preparing the world for the arrival of the Antichrist, prayer is the only thing effective. Biblical prophecy will be fulfilled regarding Israel. Very interesting. Very, very interesting comment. Thank you, Lola. It's there is definitely a change, a wind of change happening there. Again, stuff that we have never seen before happening. So prayer. Definitely prayer. Let's see. Karen says, I watched the speech because I wanted to see how the long summer break training accomplished for what the long summer break training accomplished for her to come back with a bang, which is nothing but more cosplay and copy. Yeah, there was nothing there. There's literally nothing there. And apparently, there's not much practice if you're reading off of your notes as opposed to maybe memorizing at least some of it. Again, the hard work is not there. The hard work, and you can tell. It's the let me show up and pretend I'm doing something to make me look busy kind of thing happening there. So let's see. What else do I have? Is that all? I think I may have something else. Oh, yes. I forgot about this. Did he or did he not? Did he call? Did he not call? Did he call? I wish the British press would they would come together and decide on a lie and then go with that one lie, because I'm confused with the lie because nobody could decide which lie to go with. And I was like, can y'all just stick to one lie, please? At least one lie per topic. I mean, just give us a break. It's like you're saying one lie, this person's saying one lie, and I don't know which lie to look at. And it's just like, what is wrong with you? Come together, put your heads together, and decide on the lie, and then tell us the lie. It's just like, gosh, Victoria Ward, Prince Harry enjoyed a warm conversation with the king as he marked the 75th birthday, which both sides hope marked the turning point. There's always that turning point, isn't there? Charles also spoke to Meghan and Archie, and Lilibet also spoke to Meghan, and Archie and Lilibet recorded a video of themselves singing Happy Birthday. Yippee, Harry and Meghan and Archie and Lily. Happy birthday to Charles, the man who kicked them out of their home in the UK and took away their security. Sure. Happy birthday, Charles. Grandpa Charles. And then you have the Express, of course, that's the Telegraph from Victoria Ward over there, who lies like the drop of a hat, so who knows. And then we have the Telegraph. They needed like 5 different writers to tell you that Harry did not speak to King Charles to wish him happy birthday on the 7th, happy 75th birthday yesterday. Exclusive. Prince Harry did not speak to his father, King Charles, to wish him happy birthday yesterday, despite the Duke briefing that he had planned to make a transatlantic call. The Daily Press understands. Yep, and they needed 5 writers to tell you that too. Again, I wish they would come up, they would decide which lie they would tell us. Did he call? Did he not call? I have no idea. I mean, the grand scheme of things, a guy called his dad on his birthday. That's it. That's all that is. Or a guy didn't call his dad on his birthday. But if you were to listen, like today, I happened, one of our squaddies posted a video from GMB, and you have literally 4 so-called reporters out there. I mean, you would think they're talking about world peace, about whether Harry did call his dad or not, and the fact that the Buckingham Palace didn't say that Charles enjoyed the call, so therefore it must be Harry desperate for his father's approval, so therefore he's the one that made the call. I mean, it was just like, are you serious? Is this a real country? Are these people reporters? Are they like, what are you? I mean, this whole nonsense about whether he called his dad or whether he didn't call his dad, like, who cares? And again, it's the nonsense of this all. And it just, I mean, and again, this is the thing. What happened when they all kicked Harry and Meghan out of the UK? They bullied them out of the UK. So now that they are all fighting over scraps about whether Harry made a phone call to his dad on his birthday. Other people are probably looking at these people like, you people are crazy. This is madness. This is absolute madness that this is even something that you're writing all these articles about whether some guy called his dad on his birthday. This is craziness. And so even with this stuff, they can't decide which lie to tell. And they have literally I saw another video of them saying, no, there was no call. There's absolutely, Harry made no call. And then another article, and another, I think it was it the Telegraph? Another one of the articles saying that, yes, there was a call, and all of that leak was from the Sussexes. They leaked that they were going to call. It's all about the Sussexes. And it's just like, and I'm like, wow, this is where they are again, fighting for scraps. They had Harry and Meghan in the UK. They could have had a professional relationship like every person else, any other person or any other country would have with high-profile people. You could have had stories. You could have had all of these things in a legal way, but you bullied them out of your country, and now all of you are fighting for the scraps on the floor over a stupid phone call that it's like a guy called a dad on his, on his birthday. That's it. That's the whole story. And so whether Harry called or he didn't, I have no idea. Nobody does unless Harry and Meghan says. I have no idea. Did Lily and Archie make a video? I have no idea. No idea. And neither does anyone else. And we know, unless Harry, and if you're a squatty like me, it's like, unless Harry and Meghan confirm this, that is a no for me. It's a no until further notice. Until Harry and Meghan says it's a yes, then it's a yes. Would I ever sit there, trusting anything the royal reporter said? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So until it's confirmed by Harry and Meghan, even though, again, we don't know in the sense that Harry and Meghan haven't confirmed or denied any of it, they just ignore that. Until they said yes, for me, it's a no. That's it. So, and if they said yes, then it's like, okay, I'll change that. But yeah, unbelievable. But anyways, I think that's all I got. That's, yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, one more. See, there's so many things we got to talk about. One of our squatties, even on along that lines of the British press just fighting for scraps. One of our wonderful squatties, Sabine, she actually noticed this, that Charles's birthday was a couple days ago, actually, the 14th, and she noticed that every single one of their birthdays, all the articles are literally about Harry. And it's just like, and if you notice in this, you see my little red arrows there. Every single one of those articles are Rebecca English's articles. And those are her birthday articles that she's written about Charles, William, and Kate. And on all of those articles is about Harry and Meghan. The focus of their birthdays has been about Harry and Meghan. And it's just like, Rebecca, do you think you could write a birthday article for these people with not letting the article be about their beef against the Sussexes or their, one-sided war against the Sussexes? It is just so ridiculous. And it's the same person doing it, Rebecca English. It's just like, girl. And, as we know, she's talk about mouthpiece for William and Kate. And every time she writes a birthday post for any one of them, it's always about Harry and Meghan, who is basically the whole story is about Harry and Meghan, and also, William, Kate, or Charles. It's hilarious. It's absolutely, they cannot get over the fact that Harry and Meghan was just bailed, walked away from their nonsense. It's really wild. But anyways, I was going to go into the chat and stay there for a little bit before we end. Oh my gosh, it's almost 2 hours. I've been talking for 2 hours. Oh my gosh, sorry. I haven't been here in a while, so excuse me. Let's see. Lola Love says, the tabloids would have that video in the front pages if it were true. Absolutely. I mean, if there was a video there, and again, I don't know, but if there's a video there or anything like that, if Buckingham Palace staff has that video, that was going to be in the Daily Mail in like a second, So unless Charles has a video and he's not sharing it with anyone, again, unless Harry and Meghan says, I'm not believing any of it. So there. Let's see. Karen says, we just talked about the David Oyelowo Foundation for the girls in Nigeria. I'm sure he spelled his name wrong. I spelled his name wrong. That's, yeah. But you know what I mean. It just, I'm not sure what you're saying about them, but if you're speaking about impact, then yeah. In terms of the Sussexes being in funding and, being a part of or working with organization and making an impact with organization, that's the kind of thing that Kate and William need to be doing. They're not always going to be the ones to found an organization, but work with other organizations in a meaningful way. Not just give money, but really work to help the company to grow, do the things that need to do to make the company viable. A lot of the organizations that are attached to Kate, especially with young kids, are all going out of business or gone out of business. And that is a testament to the fact that she isn't doing what she needs to do. I mean, literally, that is her one job. That is the job that she is being paid millions to do, and she is not doing it. And so it's very interesting. It's like why people aren't really calling them on it and calling her out, and not just her, not picking on her, but her, William, and all of them out on this stuff. Show me the money. Show me what you're doing. What tangible things you're doing for the money that you have, that you're being paid. So yeah, it's very interesting that nobody seems to care. And it unbelievable. Let's see. Um, let's see. Lana says, I don't think Archie and Lily made a video because if they did, Chuck would have leaked it by now. I think we're all thinking the same thing. We are literally all thinking the same thing. Yeah, they would have leaked that. I mean, unless, Archie, unless it's copyrighted and, firm legal stuff is around it where it's like you cannot leak this. If you leak it, I'm suing. I mean, not that they can sue the monarch. He is he has immunity from lawsuits of any kind, but I don't believe it either. I don't believe it either. So yeah. Mad World says they accuse Harry and Meghan of leaking about the call. They are out of their minds over there. Well, yeah, that's definitely obvious. They are definitely out of their minds. That is definitely the case. Sharon says, Sharon Maitland, hello, Sharon. She says, my Palestinian friend in college explained the history of Palestine and Israel. Before then, I was totally believing the propaganda. And, many of us have. I mean, nobody should feel like, oh my gosh, I feel stupid for not knowing this or anything like that or anything close to that. When you're fed something your whole life, you believe, because, most Americans have the notion that we're the greatest country in the world. That's been the propaganda, the greatest country in the world, the land of the free, the home of the brave. Yes, there are aspects of it, that this is a democracy and all of that stuff. There are aspects of it. Is that true? No. No, it's not. And so if you've grown up believing all of those things, then that's a reason, yeah, you're gonna, especially, you grew up watching TV and you believe that journalism, that the journalists there, because they're there to hold truth to power, they're here to hold those in power, their feet to the fire. You believe all those things, and in the sacredness of journalists that are there to speak the truth and all of that stuff. Then that's the reason you're going to believe what they say. And again, if your parents believed it and they taught you, then you would believe it. They would believe it. And then it's just sick when you realize, when you get to a point and you start really educating yourself and your eyes are being opened and you realize that all of that stuff you believed about yourself, your country, what is going on is not exactly the way they're saying it. And I'm telling you, there are some kids on TikTok today they're like, it's like the wind has been knocked out of them, because one of the things that they're saying is like, everything we've been taught around this. And again, not that they are believing or not believing, but not that they are supporting, bin Laden or any of that stuff, but because they weren't told the truth. They weren't told a different perspective. They weren't told the whole story of what happened, and it's painted in a light where we're the good guys, they're the bad guys, and they just are jealous of us. And now they're finding out, especially what's happening with Israel, is like, oh my gosh, my country is playing a big role in the abuse and the hurt and all of the atrocities in those countries. And they just rose up and said, enough is enough. I'm fighting back. And no, violence is never the right thing, and all of that stuff is never the right thing. But you understand the perspective, and you understand what led to stuff like that, then it gives you a whole new perspective, and to go at the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is not the people who you've been abusing and fought back. The root of the problem is the people who are perpetuating that behavior that led to that. And so they are having the winds knocked out of them, the sails knocked out of them. But I'm very hopeful for Gen Z. I'm very, very hopeful. They are learning, they are growing, and they are standing up for what is right. And so I love them. I absolutely love these kids, to see them discover and to see the drive they have for justice and to do what is right. I'm like, thank you, God, for allowing me to see this generation coming up, because I am just like, it makes me hopeful. It makes me so hopeful. So yeah. Let's see. A few more before we end. Uh Hello, Gator Girl Diva. Oh my goodness. Hello. She says, "Hi everyone, I'm back. Had to go eat lunch with my mom." Oh, that's nice. So I had to drop out. Guess I'll be listening on replay to catch up what I missed. That's fine. That's fine. I'm happy you had some time with your mama. That's wonderful. I need to go call mine now. Thank you for reminding me. But happy, I'm sure it was a fab lunch with your mama. Happy you're back. So a couple more before we end. Let's see. Arrington W says, British media use Harry and Meghan to distract from the Tories' actions. Sad. Well, always. They always do this. They always do this. And I hope the Labour Party in the UK kicks out Keir Starmer, which I don't think is the right person to lead that party at all. I mean, that guy is, for me, that's Tory light right there, who is he is in Rupert Murdoch's pocket, and so there is no way he is going to make any kind of the kind of changes that is needed in that country. So I hope they kick him out and get somebody who actually is a leader who will actually bring change, because he is not going to do it, including the fact that he's not voting for ceasefire either. So there you go. What else? John Jenkins says, Petal, I will never believe that phone call occurred until there's independent verification from the official spokesman of HRH, Princess Meghan and Prince Harry, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. You go, John. That is some statement, and I second that. I absolutely second that. So there. I completely agree. Unless there's independent verification from them, absolutely agree. So thank you, John. I second that all the way. Anton W says, last night, Byline TV released a documentary about Brexit destroying the UK. Oh, it's so funny. I didn't realize it was a documentary. For some reason, I thought it was their next month's paper, like the headline. I didn't realize it was a documentary. So thanks for letting me know. I gotta check that out. Thank you. I hope I could see it in the US. Sometimes some things are blocked. So I hope I could see it in the US. For some reason, I thought it was their next month's thing. I didn't realize it was a documentary. So thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see. Nas says, Cookies and Cream, yes, let's keep praying for healing for Church Nelly. Yes. Does anybody know? I've been trying to find out what's up with Church Nelly, if she's doing any better at all. We've been praying for her, thinking about her, sending her love and positivity. So if you're listening, Church Nelly, we love you and miss you, and hopefully you'll be back with us soon. So yeah, sending positive vibes to our Church Nelly. So, let's see. SBNN4S says, everyone thinks of the diary of Anne Frank during her time hiding in the attic from the Nazis. But let's compare that now to a diary of a young Palestinian girl. Perspective. Ooh, powerful. Absolutely powerful. Yes. Very much. And we've seen the horror these children have got to go through. And so, yeah, wow. Thank you so much for that. That's very powerful. Let's see. Karen says, the countries the royals have helped is worse off today. The people, education, rich, but money poor, because those countries were bled of their riches and being told otherwise. Yes, 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 very true. Very true. And I wish they would, have a more robust plan for demanding reparations, as we were talking about with Kenya the other day. It's just like, yeah, are you guys going to be serious about this or not? And so, yeah, very true. Absolutely true. Um, so anyways, guys, that's it, I think. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for over 2 hours. Sorry. This was not meant to be a 2 hour podcast. I'm so sorry to talk your ear off, but I'm just happy to hang out with you again. Oh goodness, my table is shaking. After 3 weeks or so of being displaced a bit. And so hopefully I'll be back on a lot more regularly, doing lives instead of just doing. I think I'll be doing some videos as well, but a lot more lives now that I'm back in my room and and a little more stable in my home instead of running around because they're doing construction. So anyways, thank you guys. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much to our awesome moderators. Lydia, I didn't see today, but Lydia, wherever you are, I love you, sending you love. And also prayers for Church Nelly. Prayers and love to Church Nelly. Karen M, Cookies and Cream and Black Queen. Thank you all so much. I love you all. Thank you to our awesome 2 Cents crew who support the channel monthly. Thank you all for your support. Let me move my banner so you can see everyone. There we go. For those that are down there, I think I'm missing a couple of people, so I am going to have to update this list. And thank you to all of you who support in the chat as well. I appreciate all of you, whether you just donate or get super thanks or super stickers or donate via PayPal or Cash App. Thank you all so very much. I appreciate every single one of you for your support. Have a fantastic day, everyone. I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye.